most of the tracks start off with just bass, drums, and guitar. Once they've done the drums and the bass, it's, you know, I usually just build everything up afterwards. It's like well, it's just a starting point, you know, and you start constructing from square one.
Is the rest of the band in the studio usually when you're putting down the guitar?
No,
they're not.
Never.
You don't like anybody in the studio when you're putting down a guitar, do you?
No. I usually just limber up for a while and then do maybe 3 solos and take the best of the 3.
Is there an electric 12 string on Thank You? I know there's
yes.
acoustic. There is.
Yes.
That's not the box though.
I think so. That might be a Fender, if it's a Fender or Rickenbacker, I don't know. I'd have to hear it again.
There's definitely an acoustic.
I'll check it out before you go back.
Okay.
It's acoustic.
On the next album, what is the effect on Out on the Kyles? On the guitars?
Now that the effect, what, on the riff?
Yeah.
Now that's exactly what I was talking about, close miking and distance miking. That's room ambient sound, giving the distance between the time lag from one end of the room to the other, and putting that in as well, you know?
Really incredible.
Ambience. The whole idea, you know, the way I see recording is to try and capture the sound of the room vibe and the emotion of the whole moment, and try and convey that across. You know, that's the very essence of it. And so consequently you've really got to capture as much of the room sound as possible. Got the chords, they just sort of started happening, you know, and it was, just did it more or less straight off.
There is banjo on Gallows Pole too?
Yeah, I was doing that, yeah.
I mean, you never talked to any banjo players or any...
No, it was just laying around and I picked it up and played it. But you see, that's finger picking again, going right back to the studio days, really. It's, you know, having worked out a certain amount of limited technique anyway on it, right. But at least it can be adapted and used.
Right.
You know, it's a sort of cross between Pete Seeger and old Scrubs.
Yeah.
And a total incompetence.
Before the Zeppelin album was the first time you really used the double neck?
I didn't use a double neck on that, but I had to get a double neck afterwards to play Stairway to Heaven. But I did all those guitars on it. I just built the guitars up. That was the beginning, really, of building up, like, you know, harmonised guitars properly, you know. And then 10 years gone as an extension of that. And then Achilles is like the essence, the essential flow of it, really, without having, because I mean there was no time to really think the things out. I just had to lay it down more or less. First track, harmonised, second track. You know, it's really fast working on that. And I did all the guitar overdubs. Well, I know I'm going on to Presence, but all the guitar overdubs of Presence were done in one night. And it's only 2 sequences in that. And in fact, the rest of the band, well, not Robert, but the rest of them, I don't think they really thought it was, they couldn't see it to begin with, didn't know what the hell I was going to do with it. But I wanted to give each section its own identity. And I think it sort of came off really good, but I didn't think I'd be able to do it in one night. I thought it would take, I'd have to do it across maybe 3 different nights to get the individual sections. But it was, I was just very bored. I was so into it, you know, that my mind was working properly for change. Sort of crystallised, and you know, everything was just pouring out. You know, I was very happy with the guitar playing on that. whole album, you know, as far as the maturity of playing goes.
You think it's your best playing?
Yeah,
You do?
without doubt.
The best thing you've ever done?
I don't know the best thing I've ever done, but as far as consistency goes, as far as on the way through a whole album, I would say yes. But I mean, I don't know what the best solo I've ever done is. I've got no idea.
You couldn't say?
Not really.
I mean, a lot of people thought that the solo from Stairway to Heaven, so like that was Jimmy Page and everything you ever did.
That's the best thing he ever did and ever will do. But anyway, I'm more interested in, I think, you know, my vocation's more in composition, really, more than anything else. Building up harmonies. Well, using the guitar, orchestrating the guitar, like an army, you know, the guitar army. So it's talking to, you know, it's right, you know. I think that's where it's at, really.
That's something
for me.
You wanted to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like a guitar. Did Hendrix do it at all? I mean, the impression I get is like when he did Star Spangled Banner with like all the guitars and.
Yeah, but
is that kind of the same?
No, not like that, because he did that way, you know. I'm talking about actual orchestration in the same way as you'd orchestrate a classical piece of music. Instead of using brass and violins, you treat the guitars through synthesizers and etc. Give them different treatments so that, you know, that they have enough frequency range, scope and everything to keep the listener, you know, sort of as totally committed as you are to, you know. It's a difficult project, but it's one that I've got to do.
Have you done anything concrete yet?
Well, only yeah, I've mentioned those 3 titles there, the way that it's building through. I mean, there's a lot of, like, I can see certain milestones along, like, in 4 sticks and things like that, all the middle section of that, all the sort of, the sound of those sort of harmonies. So
right.
That's where I'm going, you know. Now I've got long pieces written. I've got one really long piece written that is, it's harder to play than anything, you know.
Really?
Yeah, it's like kind of classical, modern classical. But then it goes through changes from that to, like, you know, really laid back rock to intense, very intensified stuff, you know. With a few laser notes thrown in, it might be alright.